Hello and thank you for joining the midweek edition of Journalist Hangouts. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the program, human rights lawyer Femi Falana launches astonishing attack on the Nigerian army, accuses it of illegal deployment during the March the night, the governorship election, as House of Representatives plans probe of the military role in the 2019 polls. And later on the show, Chadian troops wrap up military operation in the Lake Chad Basin, get warm reception from Nigerians in Mongono Igala and other areas. PKO is back, Babajide Kolade Otitoju is in the house, and Shola Ojeusi. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for joining us again. The conduct of the 2019 general election in Nigeria exposed the good, the bad, and the ugly in us as a country. One of the very ugly things still dogging the elections is the alleged interference in the process by the army. Human rights lawyer Femi Falana has lent his voice to the issue. According to Falana, the deployment of troops for the governorship election in Rivers State and elsewhere by the army was illegal. As such, was not sanctioned by INEC or President Muhammadu Buhari to provide security at collation centers. The senior advocate called on the federal government to investigate the illegal deployment of armed personnel. Taking a cue from that, the House of Representatives is planning to probe the military's role in the polls. Adopting a motion to probe the matter, the House expressed disappointment over the involvement of the military men in the just concluded election. Babajide, I know for sure it's in the Electoral Acts that INEC will specify the role for the military, if need be, for them to be involved in our election. But we saw in Rivers State, we saw in some other states, military being part of the process. Well, I was in Katsina at first. I was in Ogun State for the governorship election. The role I saw the military play and the normal role at any point in time during the election, they are going to be in the major, exits and entrances into the states, searching people, looking for people carrying arms or, not remotely at the polling center at all. They don't even go near collation centers. But you will see them again, maybe they will resurface some meters to INEC office. Now, what we've seen in Rivers State, even the British government actually condemned the use of the military. What happened? Who sanctioned that operation?
Well, the point that INEC made very clear through Festus Okoye was that it didn't tell the army to deploy at its collation centers. It didn't ask for soldiers to be at the collation centers. So if Okoye, a national commissioner who's in charge of voter education and information at INEC, cannot say that INEC asked for soldiers to be at collation centers, because the problems arose at the collation centers. The problems, the videos that we saw that went viral, to the shame of Nigeria. The video of soldiers being confronted by women, women telling those soldiers that we no go gree, and soldiers climbing wall, trying to force themselves into a collation center. To the shame, I repeat, of Nigeria. INEC says it does not know about it, that it did not tell them to come. So what are you doing at the collation center? The law, because for years, you see, for years, ACN, CPC, and APC, they confronted the PDP-led government over illegal deployment of soldiers on election day.
Or even the deployment of soldiers at all.
Arising from the illegal deployment, because we saw what happened in 2014 when Chibuike Rotimi Amechi and the current national chairman of the APC, Oshiomhole, were banned from entering Ekiti in probably the worst violation of their freedom of movement. They were not allowed to enter Ekiti. Soldiers did this. Soldiers did this. And that is, the truth is, we must first admit that the aberrant behavior of some irresponsible politicians in Rivers will make it extremely difficult to do elections without military involvement. We must admit that. The issue is, we are not against deploying the military for election in a volatile state like Rivers or even Delta, where people, in some cases, you can hardly even walk around free on election day. But INEC reserves the right to say this is where we want to see you. We get the point that I'm okay. And that is very clear in the law. I'm going to try to read a portion of the law because that is what should guide us, so that it doesn't look like he has come and simply criticize the military. So the law says, notwithstanding the provisions of any other law, and for the purposes of securing the vote, the Commission shall be responsible for requesting for the deployment of relevant security personnel necessary for elections or registration of voters, and shall assign them in the manner determined by the Commission in consonance with the relevant security agencies, provided that the Commission shall only request for the employment of the Nigerian forces only for the purpose of securing the distribution and delivery of election materials and protection of elections officials. So it is completely out of the hands of the military to determine where they want to work on election day. They can't determine where they want to work. That
They are
power.
the mercy of INEC.
Yes, it is INEC that will say, this is where I need you.
I need you.
So if you go to LMA, somewhere under LMA command, Ogolobla or Ogoloblo. Let me try to, because it's not an area that I'm familiar with. But I remember that place because of the scandal that happened there.
Ogolobo.
Ogoloblo. I'm sure people in Rivers State will. Ogobolo. They will remember this place. Soldiers came with the intention of taking away the result sheets. They were set around 7 p.m. to begin to do collation of results. Then the soldiers descended on the area like paratroopers and then said, stop. And the people, women, women said, no, you are not going to do this. And the women, the communities, the roads were blocked. The women formed a shield against the soldiers that they are not going to enter that place and disrupt collation. What the army now did, because a lot of those soldiers that they used were resident in that community, some of them already had secured wives in the area. So how they will now turn guns on people who probably have kids for them became an issue. Do you know that they had to change the commander? They changed the commander, with someone else from a distant part of the country. That one, a lieutenant colonel, now ordered soldiers to open fire on women, on those women. To the shame of that commander, the soldiers, the junior soldiers, low-rank soldiers, said, do it yourself. You see, if we are not careful, the army is our last defense as a country. If we allow the army to be debased, if we allow the image of the army to be rubbished by aberrant politicians, then we'll be in trouble. It has happened. We can point at countries where this sort of thing has happened because we are historians. It should not happen to Nigeria, whatever happens. We are Nigerians. They should not destroy the image of the army. And Burate is listening to me because I know he watches this program. He confessed with his mouth, he watches this program. It is firmly in his hand to restore discipline to the army. I've seen what happened. Burate has said they are going to investigate what has happened. Only for the spokesman of the army to be attacking the UK. Oh, what they said is baseless. When there are videos, and they're saying that they should not interfere in Nigerian matters.
Shola, what do you make of this situation?
I think Jide has virtually said all, but you know, at this stage in the lives and the history of our military, they've done a lot worth commending. They've put their lives on line to fight the insurgents. We have lost so many people who paid the supreme sacrifice just for the defense of the territorial integrity of Nigeria, to also bring bring down the insurgents, the terrorists. They've done so much. But what happened during the last election, especially the governorship election, really calls a lot about the integrity of the same army to question. You know, we were talking of what happened in 2015. You know, everybody condemned, especially what happened in Ekiti, militarization. And it is unfortunate that the set of people that were like at the vanguard of condemning this are now in charge. You know, we don't expect this kind of thing to be happening. A lot has been done to the kind of respect that a lot of us have for the neutrality of the Nigerian army. The bottom line is what happened that day is a great dent on the image, and they have to redeem themselves. First, the chief of army staff has denied any knowledge. Then somebody must be brought to book. You know, look, when you're talking of elections, I don't even know what role the military should play. They were not trained to handle election situation, because mainly what comes out of election is either riots, demonstrations. People are not going to war as such. Even if it's something that has a modicum of maybe arms and ammunition being used by people, it has not reached the scale at which the military will be deployed to be taking part in that. So when you have the police, the anti-riots, what were they trained for? To be able to handle situations like this. If you not get the military engaged, yes, because of the situation of Nigeria, we know the way we have become too volatile about elections. Maybe like they said, to prevent people from bringing arms and all those things, maybe at the peripheral, their role should have been limited to the peripheries. But then getting involved in coalition means there is much to be desired about their role at that time. So we have to understand the military has no hand in such situations. And bringing them in is going to lead to the kind of all those terrible experiences we had during that time. So definitely, if the INEC, that should be the ones that will have invited the military, said they were not in the know, and the head of the army has also denied being involved, I think something has to be done to cause somebody to question. And I want to make reference to what Falana said. Recall, Falana has always confronted the army when it comes to getting out of their normal statutory rules. When the issue of condemning Amnesty International in 2018, the same Falana came out and said, look, there is a limit to which you can start blaming Amnesty, because these people, they don't just come out without really having some statistics in their hand. And then, once again, when this came up, the international community, having been able to deploy their own observers to see what is going on, and they saw all these things, and they complained. Still, you went to the extent of trying to abuse them. Yeah. No, we have to live. Yes, we have to live above this kind of thing. And the onus is on the authorities, even the presidency. The integrity of everyone. Himself. The commander-in-chief has to know. He's a man that has, given a lot to Nigeria. But there are certain things that can dent whatever you have contributed, because the peace of the nation is the peace of the president.
Jide, if River State is the case study right now, and is what
It's not simply Rivers.
those areas.
Then on election day in Akwa Ibom, we saw some overrated politicians using the military, using the police to beat up people,
Yes.
to arrest INEC staff, and you don't want INEC to complain. I don't know what you because you are spokesman for the army, you just be attacking people
I saw policemen
over things that you cannot even empirically deny. There are videos all over the place. What are you saying?
Why would military?
On election day, you are a politician, an overrated politician from Akwa Ibom. You can't win an election, and you are going around harassing people, getting soldiers to help you, to arrest our next staff, locking them up. We at TVC, we had to raise the alarm before those guys were freed. And remember that little boy in our newsroom, Lawrence, Demola Lawrence, freshly married, freshly minted married boy, beaten up along with his driver. Because of what? Because of election? Is that how people beat themselves up in America because of election? Or in the UK? We simply go there, big people, we go there, we don't learn anything. Things that we don't see do in those countries where we go for medical checkup, where we go, where we take our girlfriends to.
Jamborees.
Where we do our jamborees, we come to Nigeria because we want our country to completely remain stunted. We want to continue to do those things here. And we think God will not ask us because we don't believe in God. God will ask us. And that's why we will keep telling them that what they are doing drag us back. Those things that they are doing drag us back as a people. It's not only in Rivers State that it happened. What we had was that on election day, politicians should not go around with uniform security men. But what do we see? A single politician will carry 2 truckloads of soldiers moving around, intimidating other people. And he's calling that an election. And people must not talk. If they complain, you will abuse them. Look at the blackmail. See the way they are trying. Yes, the soldiers paid with their lives. We appreciate their sacrifice, even in this election. During the presidential election, they sacrificed their lives.
Yes.
It happened. We are not diminishing their role or the sacrifices that soldiers make. But we have to save the military from itself. Because from within, the military can destroy itself. And the military belongs to us all. It does not simply belong to Buratai and his men. No, it belongs to us. Nigeria is called the Nigerian Army. That's why we have to tell them to not allow aberrant politicians to destroy the image that they have built over the years. That is why we have to tell them. So politicians are the people collaborate, they go and get them and start using them. Soldiers have no business at collation centers. No. Soldiers have no reason. It happened during the presidential election. We saw a woman, a collation officer from Moha in Rivers State, say publicly that they have nothing to collect because soldiers came and grabbed what they had. We were told, because some people simply like to lie. They say, oh, yes, there are some irresponsible politicians who indeed sold army uniform for
That's
thugs.
what I wanted to.
That is
that line
different.
Of
We know real soldiers when we see them. I relate with soldiers now. I've lost soldiers in that war. I've lost friends in that Gulf war. I mean, in that Boko Haram war. If I see a real soldier, I will know now. It doesn't take rocket science. If you relate with people consistently, you recognize them when you see them. Even you and your wife, when you sleep in the dark, you can recognize the smell of your wife without seeing her face.
That kind of line.
It's
just like hiding behind your finger, trying to use that kind of.
In the dark.
Yes.
You can recognize your wife.
Why not?
So this is the thing. We are used to them. If we see people pretending to be soldiers, we will know now. We know that real soldiers were deployed.
Yes.
And already as we are talking, Buratai is working on the ground. General Buratai is working on the ground to identify people who are behind this. A shake-up is going on in the army. Commanders are being moved.
Okay.
So it's not as if
That's just sitting.
The chief of army staff is just sitting and doing nothing. I'm sure in his heart he's embarrassed about what has happened, and I'm sure that he wants to solve this problem. So I'm here to assist him to solve the problem.
I have my first caller. Ita is calling us from Ogun State. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes.
Thank you for hanging out with us.
Greetings to Babajide.
Yes, BKO is back.
Yes, I'm enjoying the discussion so much when it comes to...
Keep talking, don't stop.
Okay, so the issue of the army in Port Harcourt is quite unfortunate because, like you said, you have overbearing politicians who will not allow the military to be. But the volatility of River State, you cannot take away military in elections. You have a lot of people with arms, illegal arms.
Yes.
You have a lot of people that so uniform. You have heard how customs sees so many trucks, so many containers of military uniforms. Now, I also saw a video where some people were arrested wearing SARS clothes, SARS T-shirts.
We know all of that.
So, my brother, the military, I'm very sure, I also watched that video where, in that gate, where they were trying to struggle with the police. I didn't see them take over Collation Center. They were outside. And it is because they were hold rooms. They were hold rooms who were trying to disturb. They were going there to bring order.
Okay.
Thank you, Ita.
That's the information that you have. That's the information that you have. You don't have all the facts. Nobody is saying that
maybe
they are
saw
not.
a video.
Huh?
A commissioner in River State.
They went
in the kitchen.
They
saw some
went
military guys.
No, that one, you see, the thing is part of what we do to show you how backward our democracy is. On the eve of an election, people that we think are significant, they are crucial, we will now go and use the security agencies to arrest them.
Pick them one by
That's
one.
simply what happened. Again, soldiers have no business being part of those carrying that out.
Harassing a woman in her kitchen, imagine.
Soldiers have no reason to get involved in that. What Ita is trying to tell me is that, yes, in Rivers is volatile. Rivers is this. We know that. It's not the one who will tell me that. We said that in the beginning.
That's what.
That we cannot stop using soldiers in Rivers for
Rivers
now.
Especially.
But we are saying collation center. Going to disrupt collation.
Part of the process.
It's not the
their
duty.
job.
They didn't go there. He has not seen some of those videos, probably, or maybe he saw them pretending not to have seen them, because it's possible. In those videos, they didn't engage anybody. They were simply trying to force their way into the area. And when people bear in mind what they did in Emoha, that woman came out to say this was what the army did, then they were trying to resist them. Why should people vote? And some individuals will just come and say, no, stop what you are doing. We want to take away your results. And you expect the people to just simply fold their arms. So it's women who stood up to them. And the video is there, to the shame of Nigeria, as I said earlier. So this is not, nobody is saying that soldiers are not sacrificing. No, this is how we Nigerians would like to misunderstand people. We would deliberately take away the main kernel of a discussion and start saying something else. Nobody can talk about military sacrificing, and say that I do not understand. I go to see them now. I go to see them, I meet them. So I know that they sacrifice. But the thing is, they should not take that. They should know their limit. Once they start getting involved in disrupting elections, not shooting those trying to snatch ballot boxes or going to disrupt collation. You can see that INEC was very specific that we didn't deploy them at collation centers. That is the point. You have no business going to collation.
Well,
Mr. Josie, I wanted to ask you, the opposition, that's the People's Democratic Party,
yes.
I don't see them having access to the military. It is the party in power that will have access to the military.
That's what we're talking about. Elections.
So that means
yes.
APC must be culpable in most of the states?
Well, what I would just say is, we said earlier that the buck stops on the table of the
Individuals
president.
are using soldiers.
There are people.
Individuals.
Yes,
This
there are
is the
people.
point that you don't get.
Individuals.
Individuals.
Using soldiers
Yes.
in Nigeria.
And then,
Yes.
you know what?
Individual. Have you not seen a marriage ceremony where soldiers are on guard? You've
And
not
the
seen
person
that.
is not a military.
It's not a so. He will ask for him. Have you not seen somebody building a house, and because the Fed of Monile will come and disturb him, he will go and hire soldiers? Are you not in this country?
Well, but on the scale
On the
of that, what happened in
let's
Rivers?
not. And I'm not saying
Yes,
that. You
yes.
get my point right.
Yes.
Maybe I've been saying this thing
Yes.
with passion since. I'm saying that don't dismiss the possibility
No.
of a politician, even from the PDP, or even any other party,
Have access to money.
getting yes. If it's money, you give people money.
I
Maybe the
thought it was
commander.
police that we had problem with. That
But you know what?
Get a policeman.
Having said
people,
that,
even sometimes people
Yes.
who illegally
Frank.
smuggle stuff into our country, they will go and get soldiers from Ojo cantonment and put them in the vehicle.
Then
Once the
if
soldier
that
sits
happens,
with them in front,
you know,
they will not start
if
the
that
vehicle.
happens,
Okay, let me quickly
somebody
take.
is on the line. Okay.
Frank is calling us from Kaduna. Thank you for joining us, Frank. Hello, are you there?
I can hear you very well.
All right, please go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, thank you so much. I want to first of all thank Mr. Babajide. I've been following your program, although I'm a first-time caller. I'm so happy that I'm able to call you through.
Good for you, Frank.
My contribution is this. You know, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. The problem is, one of the problems that I see in Nigeria is that this military, they don't know, they don't know who they are loyal to. They find it difficult to know who they are loyal to, whether to be loyal to the country or whether to be loyal to a particular party that is at the helm of the affair at a particular time. Nigeria belongs to all of us. They should know this. In the area of Rivers, what is, if you look at it, a particular politician, although I don't want to mention name, I can even mention him, Mr. Amechi, his party is not even in the ballot box. Look at the way, because of his personal interest, he is so much against the governor in power, trying to do everything possible to scuttle the peace of that state. This is very bad. It is very, very bad. They should know.
We can't substantiate that. That is your opinion. Let me take this break. When we come back, we'll discuss more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this time out. Well, it's hot in the studio. It's Journalist Hangout. We're reaching you live from Television Continental, the station of the year. And we are looking at the role of the military during the last presidential and governorship election. And Shola, we're about making a point before we went on that break.
Well, all has been said, but what I would just say here is they have another opportunity on Saturday to redeem whatever has been the kind of dent because of what happened last Saturday. We have elections coming in Kano, in some other states, in Sokoto. Some states are still dilly-dallying, but whatever happens on Saturday, the army must stand clear of collation center. They must show that they really have the interest of the nation in their hearts. They should not be seen to be partisan because they have a future to hold on to. They have their image to hold on to. We have an army that has been praised around the world for their roles in Liberia and Sierra Leone, in international engagement. So they are considered as being professionals. When you have a heavy elephant on your head and you are now, tampering with crickets in their hole, that means you have reduced that kind of image, that kind of monumental respect that you have to pedestrian level. And that should be the watchword for the army. The leaders, the chain of command should be reorientated towards what's going to happen next Saturday. Stand clear, let people, because, and the onus is also on the table of the ruling party because we know everybody, the army has become so porous to the extent that just every Tom, Dick, and Harry can just spend money and then invite them to come and, do some unnecessary things. They should be able to stand their foot that this is what we are paid to do. This is what this constitution asks us to do, and we are not going to deviate from that. So they have to hold on to that image of an army of responsible gentlemen. So whatever happens on Saturday will show whether they've really been able to redeem that or not. So let's see something good coming up from what happens in Kano or Sokoto or any other place where election is taking place on Saturday.
Julian, moving forward.
And Benue, please. Yes.
Moving forward, because I was almost going like, because the ruling party will have access to their commanders, they can command there and everything. I never knew that the situation is as bad as an individual could walk up to any structure of the army, pay money, and get people to start doing things for you.
Was a soldier not arrested along with this big-time kidnapper, Evans? A soldier was arrested with him, a soldier that he had been using for years. So there are bad eggs everywhere. There are bad eggs. No matter the great intentions of the leadership of the army, it has to find a way to deal with the black legs within the force. People will shout that, oh, they sentence some people to death, this and that. But if it is the law of the army that has been applied, then so be it. The army must take discipline seriously, because before our eyes, discipline will collapse if these kind of things keep happening. And those unthinking politicians who keep bringing in soldiers, they are telling soldiers indirectly that governance is such a sweet thing. You are bringing them back into the political arena. You are bringing them back. One day, those soldiers will feel that they have sufficient courage, and they will think of taking over power, because you refuse to leave them alone. You are the one bringing them, trying to entice them, get them to get involved in politics. When they are on their own, you go and call them. So they have to watch it too. Those politicians have to watch it. You are the ones who are not leaving these soldiers to rest in their barracks. You want to use them for politics at all costs. And it cuts across. You don't have to be a commander-in-chief to use soldiers. The example of the overrated politician that I talked about in Akwa Ibom, that's one. I know a PDP governor who on election day, a PDP governor who used soldiers on election day. I know. So what are we talking about? So it's not even limited to one party. And when we're talking about one party, it could just be an individual within a party who just took it upon himself that, look, I want to disrupt the process. Let me use soldiers, because he has influence. This is not how to use influence. This makes absolutely no sense. So I agree with one of our most famous contributors, Abulimen, who said the isolated cases of gross misbehavior on the part of soldiers should not be used to nullify the need to use them at elections. I said that from the beginning, Abulimen. I'm sure you heard me. Nobody is saying that we should not deploy soldiers or that we should no longer use them. I will be the last person to say that. We still need them. We still need them, especially in rivers, in Delta, and a few other volatile places. But they have to operate within the
Dictate of INEC.
Yes, they can't go and disrupt. They can't go and disrupt collation centers.
Okay, I think I have Joseph from Oyo State. Thank you, Joseph, for hanging out with us. Hello, Joseph. Are you there?
Hello?
Yes, thank you for hanging out with us.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening, Joseph. Please go ahead with your contribution.
My name is Joseph.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm hearing you.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Make your point.
Hello? Hello?
Make
Yes.
your point.
Joseph, you're on. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So, wrapping up on this, gentlemen, and as we tend to look at the anomalies, the House of Representatives, I just said they won't take it upon themselves to actually investigate what went wrong and the role. You know, there's a way that, you know, from those states that have been identified, especially the River State and Akwa Ibom, because I didn't see much of military activities in you know, the southwest in terms of being part of the process like that, or I didn't get to hear of complaints like that. But those areas,
Well, there is need. Like we said earlier, if there were individuals that decided to take it upon themselves to co-opt the army to do what they should not normally or statutorily do, then somebody should be brought to book. If investigating will bring that out and serve as deterrent to others, then I think it should be done. I agree. The only thing is the process that will be used. Because members of the House of Representatives are also politicians. I hope it will be free and fair. Are we just doing it for the purpose of doing, or are we doing it for the sake of the integrity of the country? Then let them really come and make sure that those who are really culpable are brought to book, because that will serve as a lesson to other people.
should we leave the military to do their sanitization within and leave it out of House of Rep or the
No,
Senate?
it's within the power of the Senate or House of Reps to also investigate what has happened. They have the power to call the army chiefs to come and explain. The problem with the army is that it's extremely difficult for them. Once this kind of thing has been made public, it's difficult for them to admit that things went wrong, because it will be a personal indictment on their leaders. So when this sort of thing happens, the army will come out frenetically to defend themselves, to say this is baseless and all that. But in our heart, we know that it's not baseless.
They could disown the soldiers.
No, they can't disown. No, they will just say it's
it's not
baseless.
amen.
Just like Sagir said, he said what the Britons said is baseless, and the videos are there. And you say it's baseless.
I think it's about time this.
Some of the issue is the commanders who released soldiers, the GOCs who released soldiers to be used in the improper way they've been used in this election. They can be fished out. Let's encourage the army to do that. And if the House of Reps wants to go ahead with their probe, let us see what will come out of it. I believe that no matter what, lessons will be learned. Even if you do not, the report does not favor you, lessons will be learned. It will show clearly that Nigerians have rejected this kind of behavior on the part of the armed forces.
All right.
That for me is lesson enough for the soldiers to sit up and do what is right.
Still to come, Chadian troops ramp up military operation in Chad. Terrorism is a trans-border crime, and usually it takes international collaboration to fight it to a logical end. As the Boko Haram insurgency in Nigeria's northeast rages with devastating loss, it has been argued that the country needs effective international collaboration to flush them out. In this regard, Chadian troops have intensified military operation with their Nigerian counterparts against the insurgents in the Lake Chad basin. The exploits elicited warm reception from residents in the area like Monguno and Ingala. Let us remind you what this is what we have emphasized on the program when Babajide was stressing the need to engage the Chadians in the fight in several episodes. Let us share with you episode we've had earlier on this.
I know that the government is working with Chad now at the bilateral level to see that Chad supports us fully. If Chad will give us that support, because there was a time we concentrated on Zambisa, we cleaned up the place. Now we left Zambisa. At that time we left Borno North, and Borno North is our big problem now. We are not getting so much attacks from Zambisa. It's that Borno North. Those are the ones attacking our troops and killing our soldiers for fun. So if we get the support of Chad, a critical neighbor of Nigeria in this war, then we should be able to concentrate our energies and flush these guys out once and for all.
JH Christmas edition, just last Christmas. Babajide, in charge, those the is it Abanawi faction of the Boko Haram, I think their stronghold is in that Chad.
Yes, in the islands of Lake Chad. They call those areas the Tumbus. They call the islands, they call them the Tumbus. So the islands of Lake Chad, a majority of those islands are on the Nigerian side. You get the point that I'm making. So if we have problems, because that is where the so-called Abanawi Mama No faction reside, that's their base. Then
And they are strong.
they are a lot stronger than Shekau. They are the ones that engage the army frontally. All of the attacks in Zari, where they killed a lot of our soldiers, the attacks in Metele were carried out by them. All those attacks in Borno North, because that's their own area, are carried out by them. The attack, even the kidnap of the little girl, what's her name? The little girl was still in their hands.
Lyra
From
Shari.
Dapchi?
Yes, the Dapchi girls, the kidnapping of the Dapchi girls was by Albanawi faction. The attack and the killing of the health workers in Iran was by them. The attack on looting of army weapons in Iran was also by them. It was late, early this year. So that is where we really need to concentrate our energy, because they have now shown that they are very dangerous, because that is the faction that ISIS recognized. ISIS, yes, Islamic State, now known as ISWAP, you know, Islamic State of West African Province. Now, that's the name that they now gave
The Abanawi guys.
the Abanawi faction in August 2016, when they officially recognized the faction over Shekau.
I wanted to ask you, what makes the Chadian troop, the soldiers, what makes them tick?
They are battle tested. They are far more battle tested than any army in the West African sub-region. You saw what they did in Mali. The moment they got to Mali, things changed effectively. Even when they came to Nigeria, the instance of Goodluck Jonathan administration, the pace with which they moved even gingered our own troops. You know, they moved quickly, they recovered territories quickly from that area, the Dikwa area, all those areas not far from them. They took over those territories quickly. And even our soldiers were gingered to the point that when Chadian troops offered to assist Nigerian troops to recover Goza, Nigerian troops said, no, we'll do it ourselves. And that great Nigerian soldier, General Lamidi Adeosun, then commander of the 7th Division, effectively led the takeover of all of those communities held by Boko Haram, right up to Adamawa State, where Boko Haram had 7 local governments. And the 2 local governments in Yobe and all of the local governments that they controlled in Borno State, we recovered every territory from them before the 2015 election. It's not as if those recoveries were made after the election. No, before the election.
That's how it
I always say, because many Nigerians thought that it was after May 29, 2015 that we recovered a lot of the territories. No, it happened before then. And we had good weapons. So now, when our president came in, our president said, how are the mighty falling? That how can Chadian troops be coming to fight in Nigeria? But the Chadian troops you see today is not like the Chadian troops of the 80s. They are effectively supported by the French. Chad today has the 10th best air force in the whole of Africa. Go and check. So it's not the Chad of many years back. These Chadian troops, they have equipment, they are battle tested because they've been fighting against insurgency in their own country, fighting Chadian rebels for many years, more than 20 years.
And they've
so
been
they have the experience, they have the expertise at desert warfare and any kind of warfare that you are talking about. So that's why they are useful and they know the area.
Not forgetting that Idris Deby too, you know, has been a combatant and has been the leader over time. So he's been able to build the army to a level, a very strong army. And, you know, we've said it some times ago, it's been said consistently. Wars, victories in war is about alliances. In modern warfare, whether it's conventional or even the unconventional that we're facing, alliances are very key because there are times when your powers may reach a level, but there are times when that power will have to be augmented by the knowledge of the others. look at that
Sometimes
terrain
it
there.
might be good
Yes,
on the ground, as in
you know,
for
it's,
infantry.
yes. The Chadians,
Some people will have a better
they know that terrain a
air power
lot.
than
They understand the terrain, and you know, if you're fighting along that border area, using them or having an alliance with them is the best strategy you can use.
We are not even saying they should move deep into Nigerian territory. But all of those fringes, they can help us to stop Boko Haram bringing weapons in through Chad or through the border towns with Niger Republic. They can help us police that border area.
Even
then we can do the rest.
If you look at history, the history of, combat or whatever, when America was going into Desert Storm, they had to do a lot of, interaction with the Saudis, with the people in Iran, other people around that area, because they knew in combating, in doing that, you have to use people who are very, even in our own history.
Syria and Egypt alone contributed about 90,000 troops to Operation Desert Storm.
So it's
those two countries.
Whoever is planning the anti-terrorism strategy in Nigeria has to be consistent in understanding that we should engage the Nigerians, the Chadians, even the Cameroonians more. It's not about pride. It's about reason.
That's what I keep saying.
People will say because we are a huge army, and it doesn't matter. Strategies is the hallmark of effective war mongering. So if you don't have the right strategy, you'll just be playing around the periphery of victory. And that's what we have to. So you can see even the way people responded to the involvement of the Chadians. The people around that area are happy because they have seen the effect of engaging them. So let us see how we bring our brothers in West Africa to be part of this insurgency, because it's not a Nigerian affair alone.
No,
it's something that affects every one of us. And what is good for the others should also be good for us. I think that's what I would just say about that for now.
Okay, Babajide, in this video, the Chadian troops and our people cheering them up.
Yes. And for these people who had been terrorized by Boko Haram for so many years now, if anyone comes to offer any form of support, they will be happy. They will be happy. And they know that they are good fighters. They sacrificed a lot of their men for Nigeria in 2015, early 2015. Many people, the government organized a funeral, and I saw dozens of Chadian troops killed by Boko Haram just for Nigeria. So the way it is now, there's relative calm on their own side. So, but it is on our side that we have issues. So if they will help us, then with both of us fighting together, we'll be able to deal with this. Before now,
the status of the multinational joint force?
Yes, it's always been there, but you know that funding is a big problem. Funding is a big problem, so we are not getting the support of all of those countries. Otherwise, why should Boko Haram be able to take over the headquarters of the multinational joint task force in Baga? If everybody was ready. Did you hear that any foreign troops, any foreign soldier was killed there? Because they simply left it to us. But now, I remember that the the Minister of Defense went to have a meeting with the Chadian authorities. And the meeting clearly has yielded dividends, because we are seeing the Chadians now coming into Nigeria to help us flush out this outlawed group. Before now, we also had joint military operations with Cameroon in the Bama area of Borno State. You know, because that whole area, Bama, right up to Michika, all of those areas in Adamawa State, people from Cameroon, they come into those areas because it's very located close to Cameroon. So they also come in to assist us to clean up the area and make the area safe. I want to believe that if all of these people come together, and Niger too, significantly Niger has done a good job, especially in December, attacking Boko Haram formations, Boko Haram positions in the Lake Chad area. So if we have these concerted efforts, no matter the support that the Islamic State gives that faction, we will be able to overcome them. And that is my point. I like the fact that the president, who once felt it was wrong for Chadian troops to come here, he has now seen the need to allow them to operate here. You know, I criticized the president for the comment he made that time, you know, and he didn't see the need for them to come and fight on Nigerian soil. But we've seen the need. Now we can't do this alone. If we could do it alone, within 4 years, we will have defeated them. We felt it would be a lot easier to defeat them, but we can see now that is a lot more difficult than we projected. So now, wherever we can get the support, whether from America, from anywhere, let's get that support and deal a decisive blow on these guys so that they will become history.
And as a way of adding, I think our neighbors too, our brothers in Niger, in Chad, in Cameroon, they've also seen that whatever is good for Nigeria also affects them, whatever happens to the country, because there was a time refugees were now going to that. And also, if there is peace in Nigeria, because there is a kind of interdependence, if it's not well with Nigeria, definitely it affects Niger. It affects Chad, because there is a lot Nigeria contributes to those countries. So it's also, very good for them to understand the need to be their brother's keepers. So they also have to be part of that fight against insurgents. So that relationship should continue, and it's in our best interest.
All right, thank you so much, Shola Ojeosi, for being part of today's edition of Journalist Hangout. And BKO, we welcome back.
Thank you.
And I wish you...
He came back like on the
Whatever will make us defeat the enemy, we have to do. Because Boko Haram has killed far too many Nigerian soldiers, far too many Nigerians for us to allow them to go on. I was watching a video of Nigerian Catholic soldiers praying, before going to battle. Just the normal prayers that Catholics do, and I was shedding tears because I know a lot of our soldiers have made sacrifices. I know a captain that I used to call, to get facts about what's going on in there, who lost his life just last December. So it pains me as a Nigerian that this war has gone on and on. So wherever we can find help, we need to get help. And the president said sometime last year that he was giving approval for emergency weapons procurement. I will appeal to the president and his advisors in the defense ministry to go out, release money for this emergency weapons procurement. Weapons are game changers in any war, if you have the right weapons. Because I was told that we could even buy the T-90. If we have the T-90 Russian tanks, and we bring the people to train our personnel on them, and our guys master how to effectively operate the weapon, honestly, you and I will see that within a short time, Boko Haram will become history. That is our wish.
Thank you so much, BKO. And that is on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. And also watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. We are also on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Zubako. God bless Nigeria.